Chasing feelings leave a man empty, hollow, and spent. A man who lives for feelings spends his life burning through his own substance for moments that cannot stay. He confuses the temporary shimmer of emotion for the light of being itself. Chasing feelings leave a man empty because when the wave of feeling passes, it takes with it the illusion of fullness that he mistook for life. He feels empty because his sense of aliveness depended on the wave. He has never discovered the quiet, unfed fullness that exists when nothing particular is happening. Chasing feelings leave a man hollow because he has built no depth inside himself. Every time he feels something, he rushes outward to repeat it, to amplify it, to keep it alive. He never sinks into himself. So within him, there is only space where substance could have been, a cavity echoing with borrowed emotions. Chasing feelings leave a man spent because each chase costs him. Every thrill, every hope, every emotional storm burns his energy, his attention, his peace. He becomes worn down not by labor but by wanting. His nervous system is frayed, his spirit tired, his eyes restless. He has traded the steady flame of awareness for the fireworks of sensation. So, when I say feelings leave a man empty, hollow, and spent, I mean he has poured his life into impermanent experiences. He has tried to extract eternity from things designed to vanish. And the bill for that effort is exhaustion, restlessness, and a sense of inner poverty. The tragedy is not that he feels these things, the tragedy is that he keeps trying to cure them with more of the same. Silence, simplicity, stillness. These do not empty a man, they restore him. But he must first tire completely of the chase before he can sit down and let life breathe through him instead of him trying to breathe life into himself. You see, the man who chases feelings is forever enslaved by them. He lives like a beggar before his own moods, bowing, pleading, waiting for a taste of aliveness, of joy, of peace. He is not living, he is managing himself. Understand this clearly. Feelings are weather, not truth. They arise, they pass. The fool builds his house on the weather. The wise man builds his house on the mountain. When you chase a feeling, whether it is happiness, love, motivation, peace, or bliss, you have already confessed your poverty. You are saying, I do not have it, I must get it. And so begins the eternal treadmill, a chase that exhausts the soul and leaves the man hollow, anxious, and spent. Every pleasure you chase has a twin brother called emptiness. Every high demands a low. Every intoxication brings the hangover. You cannot keep the sunrise without accepting the night. And so the man keeps running from woman to woman, from goal to goal, from philosophy to philosophy, each promising the feeling that will finally stay. But feelings never stay, they are built to die. Freedom does not come from the arrival of a particular feeling. Freedom comes from the end of dependence upon feelings altogether. When you stop needing to feel good, you stop being a slave. When you stop chasing, you discover something that was never born and can never leave you. The stillness that was there before the chase began. That is when a man becomes whole, not because he found a feeling, but because he stopped kneeling before them. Feelings consume you. Every feeling is a moment of energy. It rises, it peaks, and it dies. And each time you chase one, you spend yourself. You pour your life force into temporary fires. You become hollow because you are constantly being emptied into sensations that never stay. A man who chases feelings is like a leaking vessel. Everything that enters him leaves him. He keeps refilling until he grows tired of existing only to refill what keeps leaking out. You see, feelings are not nourishment, they are stimulants. They excite, they do not sustain. When a man lives by feelings, he loses the ability to be. He cannot sit in silence because silence has no flavor. He cannot work without a buzz because he is addicted to the high of feeling motivated. He cannot love without excitement because he confuses peace for boredom. So life becomes a series of emotional transactions, always needing to feel something. But the more you consume these feelings, the more they consume you. And when the feeling passes, as it always does, you are left face to face with the very thing you were running from. The quiet, the emptiness, the void inside. That void is not a punishment. It is simply the silence that was always there, but which you kept trying to drown with feelings. The hollowness you feel is not created by life. It's created by the exhaustion of trying to extract permanence from impermanence. When I say the more you consume these feelings, the more they consume you, I mean that every time you seek a feeling, happiness, love, excitement, success, you are in that very act giving away a part of your inner power. The nature of feelings. A feeling is not you. It is a reaction, a chemical and psychological wave that moves through you in response to something. When you eat something sweet, when someone praises you, when you win something, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin flood the body. You feel good. But those chemicals are short lived. They must, by their very nature, subside. They are designed to pass. Now, when you become attached to that sensation, when you begin to crave that wave, you begin to live as a slave to that chemical rhythm. You are no longer living to live, you are living to feel. Chasing feelings empties you. Every chase begins with the inner statement, I am not enough as I am. I need something to make me full. That very statement drains you because the moment you believe you are lacking, you start leaking. You pour your attention, your energy, your thoughts into something outside you. A woman, a success, a recognition, a pleasure. You hand over your psychological sovereignty. So, the more you chase, the more your attention, the essence of your life is scattered. And attention is your fuel. When it's constantly pointed outward, you become inwardly empty. You might be busy, stimulated, even thrilled, but inside there is nothing growing. No depth, no silence, no rest. That is why the more pleasure a man collects, the more hollow he feels afterward. Because all he has done is spend himself mentally, emotionally, energetically on experiences that evaporate. Feelings are stimulants, not nourishment. A stimulant arouses, it gives a temporary surge, but it does not build, it does not strengthen, it does not nourish. Coffee wakes you up, but it does not give you sleep. A like on social media excites you, but it does not give you peace. Sex releases tension, but it does not give you love. So a man depends on stimulants, must keep returning to them. He must drink more, scroll more, win more, love more, achieve more, just to feel okay. He becomes like a man drinking salt water. Each sip deepens his thirst. And that is what I mean when I say the more you consume these feelings, the more they consume you. You are feeding the very hunger that is eating you alive. The leaking vessel. Think of a man as a container of life energy, attention, vitality, awareness. When that energy is rooted within, he feels full. He is calm, grounded, radiant. But when he starts seeking feelings, validation, excitement, recognition, he pokes hole in his own vessel. Each desire, each chase, each external dependence is a hole. The energy flows out through them. And no matter how much life pours into him, success, love, money, it all leaks out through those holes. He must keep refilling, refilling, refilling. Eventually, he becomes tired. Not physically tired, existentially tired. Tired of being a beggar for sensations. Tired of being animated only by stimulation. That is the emptiness you feel. It is not the absence of something. It is the exhaustion of constantly leaking your life force into things that never fill you. When the man stops chasing feelings, he doesn't become dull or lifeless, he becomes whole. Because now his energy is contained, his attention is not leaking outward. He becomes a still lake, full, silent, and clear. From that stillness, true joy, not the emotional high, but a quiet inner radiance begins to appear. Not because he achieved something, but because he stopped wasting himself. There is inside every human being a stillness, a background silence. It is not dramatic, it is not exciting. It is the isness of life itself. But because this stillness has no sensation, the ordinary mind mistakes it for emptiness. It feels like nothing, and man cannot tolerate nothing. He feels compelled to fill it. He fills it with noise, activity, relationships, pleasure, ambition, all in the hope that the inner quiet will disappear. He does not realize that the thing he is running from is not his enemy, it is his own essence. When the man chases feelings, happiness, love, excitement, recognition, what is he really doing? He is trying to escape that quiet stillness. He is trying to prove to himself that he is alive, that he matters, that he exists. Each emotional high is like a flare in the dark. For a moment, it lights everything up. It feels full, purposeful, alive. But every flare burns out. Every feeling, no matter how beautiful, has a half life. And when it passes, what remains is the same silence he tried to escape. Only now it feels heavier. Because he has just exhausted himself chasing something temporary. Chasing feelings makes a man hollow. The hollowness comes from this collapse. the collapse of the illusion that something out there could finally fill you. Each time the feeling passes, it exposes that truth again, that no experience can give you what you seek permanently. And because the mind cannot accept the truth, it scrambles to chase another feeling, another goal, another person, another stimulation. The cycle repeats, and with every repetition, the man feels a little more tired, a little more drained, a little more hollow. This is the exhaustion of trying to extract permanence from impermanence, trying to hold water in your hands, trying to build a home out of smoke. The great irony is that what the man calls emptiness is not a punishment. It is simply what remains when the noise stops. When you stop stimulating yourself, you begin to sense what has always been there, a deep, neutral, silent awareness. But because you have spent a lifetime being addicted to stimulation, that silence initially feels like loneliness, boredom, meaninglessness. It is not. It is simply you without the noise. But until you can sit with that stillness without needing to decorate it with feelings, you will forever remain hollow because you will keep draining yourself to avoid the very thing that could restore you. So the hollow man is not empty because life took something from him. He's empty because he spent himself on shadows. He tried to fill an infinite space, consciousness itself, with finite pleasures. He tried to turn the sky into a jar. He tried to own the breeze. And now he stands, weary, disillusioned, and quietly afraid, realizing that all his chasing has led him right back to the place he started, the silence he never learned to love. That is what it means when I say chasing feelings leaves you hollow. The hollowness is not a void life created, it is the echo of your own exhaustion. It is the fatigue of constantly running from what is eternal to embrace what must die. When I say you are spent, I mean something very specific. It is not mere tiredness of the body, it is spiritual depletion. It is the fatigue of a man who keeps burning himself to stay lit. Every feeling is a fire. A feeling, excitement, desire, love, happiness, is a burst of energy. It rises, burns brightly, and fades. Each time you chase one, you pour a bit of your life force, your attention, your will, your vitality into that fire. It feels glorious for a while. The world glows. You feel alive. But the flame cannot last. It burns out. And when it does, what remains is ash, the dull fatigue that follows every high. Now, the ordinary man mistakes the fatigue for boredom, for loss of meaning, so he scrambles to light another fire, a new project, a new love, a new stimulation. He doesn't realize that he's simply burning more of himself. That's what it means to be spent. He's not living, he's burning himself as fuel. Life becomes a series of emotional transactions. Each one costs you a little more than it gives. You spend attention to get excitement. You spend energy to get validation. You spend your peace to get a rush. And because the satisfaction never lasts, the cost keeps increasing. You need stronger doses, louder music, bigger goals, deeper distractions to feel the same thrill. This is exactly how an addict lives. He isn't chasing pleasure anymore. He is chasing relief from emptiness. That is being spent, drained from constantly trying to refill what cannot stay full. If you chase feelings, silence feels unbearable. When you finally pass, when you try to sit in silence, you can't because silence doesn't feed your addiction. Silence has no flavor, no buzz, no story. It doesn't excite your nerves, it simply reveals how depleted you are. So you escape it. You reach for something, your phone, a person, a plan, a fantasy, and that escape burns a little more fuel. Silence becomes unbearable only because you have lost the capacity to rest, to simply be. The mechanics of being spent. Think of your energy, attention, emotion, will as a currency. Every time you chase a feeling, you spend that currency. But unlike money, this currency can only regenerate through stillness, through rest, solitude, and non chasing. When you never stop chasing, you never allow that regeneration. So your inner balance sheet keeps depleting. That's why even when life looks full, friends, achievements, pleasures, you feel inwardly poor. Because all the highs were funded by borrowing from your future energy. And now the debt collector has arrived. The meaning of being spent. To be spent is to be used by your own seeking. It is to have poured your vitality into temporary experiences until there is nothing left but fatigue disguised as life. It is to wake up in the morning and feel heavy, not from work but from wanting. It is to be surrounded by stimulation yet feel dry inside. It is the exhaustion of living through emotional combustion, where every pleasure, every goal, every desire burns you a little more. The way out. When you stop chasing feelings, when you allow yourself to sit in that flavorless silence, something miraculous happens. Your energy stops leaking. Your nervous system stops oscillating between highs and crashes. Your inner fire stops being wasted on fireworks and starts becoming warmth, steady, quiet, self sustaining. That warmth is not excitement, it is aliveness without consumption. It is life living itself through you, effortless, tireless, whole. You are spent because you've been trying to refill a leaking vessel with stimulants that excite but do not nourish. You mistaken the high of feeling alive for life itself. And every time the feeling dies, it takes a piece of you with it until you learn to stop chasing the fire and sit, finally, in the quiet that was never absent. So, the truth is this: a man who chases feelings spends his life lighting fires that cannot last. Each blaze blinds him for a moment, fills him with heat, with movement, with noise, and when it dies, he stands in the dark, shivering, exhausted. He calls that darkness emptiness, but it is not emptiness. It is simply the silence he'd never learned to love. And the day he stops chasing, the day he no longer kneels before the altars of excitement, validation, and emotional highs, that day something shifts. He discovers that what he was seeking in every feeling was never in the feeling at all. It was in the quiet space between them. That stillness, simple, flavorless, endless, is the only thing that does not leave him empty, hollow, or spent. Because it does not rise or fall, it just is. And that is the end of the chase.